Many people have heard of AIDS today without knowing what the disease is. According to Avert, HIV originated in Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I believe it was in 1920 when HIV crossed from chimps to humans. Now, I want to explain to you the difference between HIV and AIDS. HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. HIV.gov explains that it attacks a person's immune system cells and without treatment will completely destroy their immune system and their ability to fight off infections. HIV destroys these white blood cells and makes copies of itself inside these cells. However, AIDS is slightly different. According to HIV.gov, AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome, and it is a set of symptoms that illnesses that occur at the very final stage of HIV infection. It is diagnosed when a person's immune system is almost entirely destroyed and too weak to fight off infections. Most people have this misconception that a lot of people die from AIDS. But what really happens is that because your immune system is so weakened, infections and diseases can take over a lot easier and it will eventually kill you. Now, there are ways that the worsening of the sickness can be prevented and the treatment of it can help, especially if it is caught at an early stage of HIV. Antiretroviral treatment, or otherwise known as ART, is the treatment for HIV. It is made up of antiretroviral drugs, which are defined by Avert as drugs used to treat HIV and prevent it from copying itself and spreading throughout the body. They keep the virus at very low levels, improve the immune system, and reduce the likelihood of passing HIV on to someone else. UNAIDS gathered that as of 2018, 23 million people accessed ART. This is so much better than in 2016 when they were 18.2 million. However, at the end of 2018, about 1.7 million people became newly infected with HIV. You guys sound like you might be afraid right now, but take a deep breath. You cannot contract HIV through casual contact. HIV is found in a person's blood, semen, vaginal fluids, or rectal fluids, or breast milk. HIV is not found in saliva, sweat, tears, urine, or feces. You can lower your risk of getting HIV through sexual contact by using condoms consistently and correctly. And most importantly, please be aware of your HIV status. If you are aware that your partner is in fact HIV positive, there are always ways to protect yourself. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, is a daily course of antiretroviral drugs that can prevent HIV infection. Avery explains that it is aimed at HIV negative people who may have an HIV positive partner, but unable to negotiate condom use, or be having repeated sex without a condom. When PrEP is used exactly as prescribed, it reduces the chances of HIV infection to nearly zero. But if pills are missed, then the risk of infection will increase substantially. If you already had contact with HIV, your best bet is PrEP. According to Avert, post-exposure prophylaxis, or PEP, is a short-term treatment that must be taken within 72 hours of possible exposure to HIV. For example, after unprotected sex. It stops HIV spreading through the body and causing an infection. Now that you know what HIV and AIDS are, and how they can be treated, and how you can protect yourself, let's talk about how prevalent it actually is. 37.9 million people globally were living with HIV in 2018. This has gone up by 1.2 million since 2016. UNAIDS explains. 770,000 people died from AIDS-related illnesses in 2018 compared to 1 million in 2016. About 670,000 of these deaths were made up of adults, and unfortunately the other 100,000 were of children under 15. Only 79% of all people living with HIV know their HIV status. This means that about 1 in 7 people living with HIV are completely unaware of their infection. That means that if all of us in this room were infected with HIV, only 2 or 3 of us right now would have the idea that nothing is wrong. Even though the statistics for North Americans are much better than other parts of the world, you should still always be aware. And it is important to stay informed about severe things that happen around you. And even though HIV is not as prevalent around us, just remember that people travel as well as sicknesses. Always take care of yourself, and most importantly, always stay informed. And in case you were wondering who this short brown guy speaking was, my name is Kevin Lopez, and thank you for listening.